What do a hijacked helicopter, armed gunmen, and smoke bombs have in common? A daring prison escape. On July 1st, 2018, as the sun rose over the Paris region on a quiet Sunday morning, few could have predicted that the day would unfold into one of the most spectacular prison breaks in modern history. How did one man orchestrate such a complex operation from behind bars? How did he manage to evade authorities for months, despite an international manhunt? And most importantly, who was the mastermind behind this daring escape? The answers to these questions lie in the incredible life of Rédoine Faïd, a notorious French gangster, master of disguise, and self-proclaimed student of Hollywood crime films. This is his story. Born in 1972 to Algerian immigrant parents in Creole, France, Rédoine Faïd grew up in a tough, working-class neighborhood where crime was an ever-present temptation. From an early age, he was drawn to the world of delinquency, seeing it as an escape from his environment. His fascination with crime was fueled by American gangster films, particularly the works of director Michael Mann. Unlike many petty criminals, Faïd wasn't just interested in breaking the law. He wanted to be an icon, a larger-than-life figure in the world of organized crime. By the age of 8, he had already begun stealing and dealing drugs. As he grew older, his ambitions escalated. At 18, he participated in his first armed robbery, setting the stage for a career that would make him one of France's most notorious criminals. His vision was clear. He wanted to move beyond small-time crime and break into the world of high-stakes robberies, targeting banks and armored vehicles, which he called a piggy bank on wheels. Faïd's criminal career took off in the early 1990s when he formed a gang that specialized in armed robbery, extortion, and high-profile jewelry heists. Throughout this decade, his notoriety grew as he masterminded a series of audacious crimes. In 1995, he took the manager of BNP Bank in Creole hostage, along with his wife and 4 children, to execute a daring bank heist. 2 years later, he raided a jewelry store, holding the owner and his wife at gunpoint as he made off with a fortune in valuables. His exploits continued, and in October 1998, Faïd's criminal operations took a dramatic turn when he kidnapped a Swiss policeman before fleeing to Germany. His ability to evade law enforcement made him a legend in the underworld. But his luck ran out that same year when he was finally arrested. After years of running from the authorities in Switzerland and Israel, he was sentenced to 30 years in prison for at least 8 armed robberies and bank heists. Despite his lengthy sentence, Faïd's story took an unexpected twist in 2009 when he was released on parole after serving only 10 years. He claimed to be a changed man, even writing a book titled Robber: From Housing Estates to Organized Crime, in which he painted himself as a reformed criminal who had left his past behind. In media interviews, he spoke about how his life of crime had been heavily influenced by Hollywood, particularly films like Scarface and Heat. He admitted to watching Heat hundreds of times and even met director Michael Mann at a Paris film festival telling him, "You were my technical advisor." However, Faïd's so-called redemption was short-lived. Before long, he returned to his old ways, orchestrating new robberies with the same cinematic precision that had defined his earlier crimes. He even copied scenes from Heat, wearing ice hockey goalkeeper masks during a 1997 armored truck heist, just as Robert De Niro's gang did in the movie. For Faïd, crime wasn't just a means to an end. It was a performance, a way to cement his legacy as one of France's most infamous criminals. By 2011, Rédoine Faïd was back behind bars, this time for orchestrating a violent armed robbery that led to the tragic death of police officer Ariel Fouquet. Given his long history of high-profile crimes and prison escapes, authorities considered him a significant flight risk. However, despite the precautions, Faïd would soon prove that no prison could hold him for long. In April 2013, he executed a daring and explosive escape from Sakharin prison, a facility that wardens later criticized as being ill-equipped to contain criminals of his caliber. The audacious jailbreak began on a seemingly ordinary Saturday morning when Faïd's wife came to visit him. Authorities later speculated that she may have smuggled explosives into the prison, though her lawyer vehemently denied the claim. Regardless of how he acquired them, Faïd now had the tools he needed. Using the explosives, he blasted through 5 prison doors, creating chaos as he advanced toward freedom. In the process, he took 4 prison wardens hostage, using them as human shields to ensure his safe passage. Once outside, he made his way to a waiting getaway car, reportedly driven by former Special Forces officer Sabri Tra. The escape was as methodical as it was destructive. Faïd and his accomplices sped away from the prison, leaving authorities confused. Shortly after, they torched the first vehicle in Lille and transferred to another car, making it even harder for police to track their movements. By the time the hostages were released along the highway, Faïd had already vanished. His disappearance triggered an immediate response. A Europe-wide arrest warrant was issued, and law enforcement agencies launched a massive manhunt. Despite the odds, Faïd managed to evade capture for 6 weeks, during which he attempted to secure forged documents to flee to Israel, a country he had previously hidden in, disguised as an Orthodox Jew. But his luck finally ran out on May 29, 2013. Acting on intelligence, police tracked him to a modest bed and breakfast hotel where he was taken into custody without incident. His daring escape not only added another 10 years to his sentence, but also cemented his reputation as a criminal mastermind. Prison wardens' unions described his jailbreak as an act of war, reinforcing concerns that France's prison system was unprepared for such high-risk inmates. Faïd had once claimed to have abandoned his criminal life, even writing a book in 2010 detailing his past exploits, robbing armored cars, eluding authorities, and living undercover in foreign countries. But his actions in 2013 made one thing clear. His thirst for freedom and his ability to defy the system were far from over. This once again proved to be true when he orchestrated another daring escape. On the morning of July 1, 2018, Rédoine Faïd was sitting in the visitor's room of the high-security Sud-Francen prison in Rio, meeting with his brother. The prison officials had been keeping an eye on him, especially after drones had been spotted flying over the facility in the months before. However, despite their concerns, Faïd remained there until the day when a daring escape was set into motion. Earlier that day, 3 armed men hijacked a helicopter from a terrified flight instructor. The instructor had been waiting for a student when the gunmen stormed in, pointing their weapons at him and forcing him to fly toward the prison. At around 11:15 a.m., the helicopter hovered over the prison's courtyard, which was the only area not protected by anti-aircraft netting. The accomplices, dressed in black tactical gear and carrying assault rifles, jumped out and threw smoke bombs and tear gas to create confusion. As the thick smoke spread, the 2 men rushed toward the visitor's room where Faïd was meeting his brother. Using power tools, they cut through the doors and quickly led Faïd outside. The prison guards, who were unarmed, could do nothing but watch as the dramatic escape unfolded. Some fled to safety and raised the alarm. Before stepping into the helicopter, Faïd turned toward a window where shocked guards and inmates were watching. With a smirk, he gave them a mocking salute before disappearing into the sky. The entire operation had taken just 10 minutes. The helicopter flew about 60 kilometers or 37 miles before landing in a northeastern suburb of Paris. There, the men abandoned it and set it on fire. Then, they escaped in a car which was later found burned in a shopping mall parking lot. As soon as news of Faïd's daring escape spread, France launched a massive manhunt. Over 3,000 police officers were deployed across the country, setting up roadblocks, monitoring borders, and analyzing security footage in hopes of tracking him down. Despite their efforts, though, Faïd managed to stay one step ahead. For 3 months, he evaded capture, making this the most extensive police search in French history. Rumors swirled about his whereabouts. Some reports suggested he had disguised himself as an Orthodox Jew in an attempt to flee to Israel. Others claimed he was hiding in Algeria. However, Faïd was a master of deception, and the police had little to go on. Determined to find him, detectives began tracing phone records from the day of his escape. they focused on numbers that had been active but suddenly went silent, eventually leading them to Faïd's hometown of Creil. Soon after, a hunter discovered a bag in the woods containing an orange Hugo Boss t-shirt and a power cutter, linked to the escape. The man who discarded the bag was later identified as Faïd's nephew, Isaac. Weeks later, the police got another lead. Officers spotted a Renault Laguna parked on the side of a highway near Paris. When they approached, the car sped off, leading to a high-speed chase. The vehicle was eventually abandoned in a shopping mall parking lot about 20 miles from Creil. Security footage revealed that two men, later identified as Faïd and his brother Rashid, had fled the scene. The investigation intensified when an anonymous tip placed Faïd in Creil. Police set up surveillance vehicles, known as submarines, to observe the area. In one video, officers noticed a person wearing a burqa who appeared unusually tall and struggled to walk naturally. It quickly became clear that the veiled figure was actually Faïd in disguise. On October 3, 2018, French special forces raided an apartment in Creil where Faïd was hiding with his brother Rashid and his nephew Isaac. The operation was swift and precise. Weapons were found inside the apartment, and just like that, France's most wanted man was finally back in custody. Faïd's spectacular prison breaks and media-savvy persona reminded many of France's infamous 1970s criminal Jacques Mesrine, one of the country's most wanted men. Some even called Faïd the new Mesrine. However, his life on the run came to a definitive end that day in Creil, bringing one of France's most dramatic manhunts to a close. After his recapture, Faïd was transferred to a maximum security prison and placed in solitary confinement. His 2018 escape added another 14 years to his already lengthy sentence. Yet, in a way, Faïd achieved what he had always wanted. He became a legend. His jailbreaks, meticulous planning, and cinematic flair turned him into an almost mythical figure in France's criminal underworld. Even Hollywood took notice, with French director Pierre Morel, best known for Taken, announcing plans to adapt Faïd's life story into a film. Rédoine Faïd's story is far from over. Though he remains locked away in one of France's most secure facilities, the question lingers, will he try it again? If history has taught us anything, it's that Faïd is nothing if not relentless. His life reads like a thriller script, a young man drawn into crime, a master strategist outwitting the law, and a fugitive who captivates the world. Whether behind bars or on the run, Rédoine Faïd has cemented his place as one of France's most infamous criminals. And as long as he's alive, one can't help but wonder, what's his next move? If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to Breakout Bank for more videos.